Alright, hi everybody. Meaninglessness, emptiness, pointlessness. Serious stuff. Maybe you felt this or thought this sometime. I sure have. And to me, it's really at the root of a lot of things. Or it shows where you are in your kind of journey. Because most people, I think, at some point come across the fact, I guess, that what we do on a huge scale doesn't much matter. Right? It doesn't. Even if you think of the whole human experiment, it doesn't much matter. Even if we do blow up the earth, even if we do colonize Mars, okay? You know what I mean? It's kind of a basic fact, therefore we run into it at some point. Then what? What's your reaction? That's the question. And I think these words, emptiness, pointlessness, meaninglessness, there's a million more, describe one reaction to that. The ego's reaction to that, basically. If the ego is confronted with, I don't really matter, just like if it's confronted with, there's a billion other egos just like me, I'm not really that special. That's pain. That is the worst thing that it could ever hear. Scares the absolute shit out of it. Just like death does. Scares the absolute shit out of the ego. But it's true, is the thing. Yeah, it's true that on that level, I don't matter. I really don't. I really could die and it wouldn't really matter that much. Exactly. We could all die, just like I said. All humans could vanish. And it wouldn't matter that much. The universe would keep going. So I think when we run up against this, it can be very, very painful and very, 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 very scary. But so I had an experience like years ago that was the opposite of this. Which maybe you've had too. Little tastes or big experiences or whatever state you're in. But for me, it came out of a morning of doing nothing. And during that time, because I was doing nothing and staying with it, there was a thought suddenly, or a feeling, but it got turned into a thought, so words. It was part of me, I saw, completely didn't care, didn't need me to do anything. And I had never felt that before. I had never seen that before. I had never had that thought before. The ego doesn't have that thought. If the ego has that thought, it is negative. It's pointlessness. It's meaninglessness. This was not that. This was the part of me that was whole, that is always whole, that doesn't need anything. That's the opposite. That is an intense thought. Of course, I could easily forget it again, that this experience happened, that I felt this, that I realized this. Just like I've forgotten other very important switches in my state of being. But thankfully this stuck with me, so I can remember it. And so I can understand, not just theoretically, but actually for real, what the opposite of that emptiness, meaninglessness, pointlessness, that can, let's face it, lead to suicide and all kinds of other horrible things. Because if pointlessness, meaninglessness goes the other direction, nothing matters. And you can do whatever you want, even horrible things. So you can act out a bunch of aggression, a bunch of other things in the most horrible way because nothing means anything. So who cares? Knowing that we don't need to do anything to be whole is different. It comes with a feeling that is not negative. You would never want to kill someone or yourself in this state. You see what a freaking miracle everything is instead. So it is wild that the same fact can lead to completely opposite reactions depending on what your state is in here. It can lead you to thinking that everything is a miracle and amazing just the way that it is. Or if someone else is in charge, it can lead you to complete and utter despair of meaninglessness and emptiness. In the middle is the same fact, the same thing that you can say about the universe and your place in it. The one way it's like, oh my God, I'm a part of this. We are all a part of this. And on the other hand is, I am a meaningless, tiny, tiny fragment. Who cares about any of these little fragments? Doesn't mean anything. Who cares? It has no value. And here it's every tiny thing has so much value. Every tiny thing is a necessary part of the universe. I mean, how can you get more? How can you put more value on something? That's our value. That's the value of everything. So you can see it in the way that people treat things, of course. Where they are here, do they treat things with respect? People, life forms, objects, or not? What's the level of the disrespect? What's the level of valuing everything? What's the value of completely devaluing everything? These are the two different sides. But at the root is this fact of kind of, let's say, unspecialness, or it doesn't really matter very much. That's at the bottom of it. And then which way do you take it? Therefore everything has value, or therefore nothing matters? Weird to talk about, for sure. But it feels at the bottom of so much. Like if you're mega depressed, right? And you don't see the meaning of life. There you are. What's at the bottom of that? Or if you're like living in bliss and you don't need to do anything and you're living on the street, but you're happy What's at the bottom of that? It's funny that I even like feel that I can talk about this, but it is a universal, absolutely universal human experience. There's no doubt about that. What do you do? What does your mind and body do when you're confronted with the fact that everybody knows you don't really matter? You can add to that, you're gonna die. What do you do with this? Do you go here? Do you go here? Does it switch sometimes? Anyways, that's enough for today. Thanks, bye.